kicks at? Where them hands? Where them holes? Where them throws? You know what I'm saying?
Well, I admire his concern and patience because he looks like he's very earnestly and sincerely wanting to warn parents not to have their children start off their martial arts journey with Taekwondo. So I do admire that. But I disagree that Taekwondo is bad as your first style. My first style technically is in Judo. That's technically my first style. That's the first thing I got formal lessons in. And I got informal lessons in Taekwondo like a little bit after that. A lot of the criticisms that he has is because he's judging Taekwondo based on what's seen in competition. That's what a lot of people do with a lot of styles. We think that if somebody says, like, if they say they're a boxer, we don't think that they'll kick us or that they'll put us in a headlock and beat the daylights out of us. If somebody says that they do Taekwondo, we think that they can't punch and that they're just going to only kick all the time. If somebody says that they do wrestling, we don't think that they know how to throw a punch. You shouldn't judge a person based on what their martial arts does in a competition. You should judge that person based on what that person can do. Now, as far as Taekwondo being a good fundamental art, I think that it is the best thing to start kids off in. And I also see the danger in it. It's the best because they're going to really work on their kicks. And kicks are hard, and kicks are difficult. And there are some people that are never going to have good kicks, but it's still good for you to learn how to work those kicks so you can do your balance. The forms that you learn are great for coordination and are great for your mental development, in my opinion. So those forms are good too. But the blocking that he criticizes, first of all, I have seen people use that type of blocking in real fights. If you don't believe me, go to Whistle Kick and Google me or look on this channel. Go look for the Cecil Washington Whistle Kick martial arts interview and fast forward, I think it's about 30 minutes in, till you get to the story about PFC men who used Taekwondo basics to beat up 3 of us when I was a Marine Corps reservist. That is a true story. And he was smaller than me. And I also saw someone use classical, this type of blocking to handle a man 2.5 times his size and shove him out of the door of his store. If I didn't see it with my own eyes, I would not have believed it. So let's just go through my long reaction to a short. That's funny, long, short, anyway.
Parents, please stop putting your kids in Taekwondo. Don't do it. I'm not saying Taekwondo doesn't work. Taekwondo does work. You can use it for MMA. It's very useful. But don't do it as the first thing you do because it's going to teach you a whole bunch of bad stuff that's not going to work. There are some good things that work from Taekwondo. But if you don't know how to punch or block punches, it doesn't matter how good your kicks are.
Well, I can only vouch for where I've trained, and wherever I've trained in Taekwondo, we learn how to block punches. And it wasn't just this. Although, of course, that comes into play because that's part of the fundamentals. But no, you learn how to block punches when you're sparring. 2, in addition to this. Okay? You learn how to block punches and you learn how to punch. Because I thought that Taekwondo translated as the way of the hand and foot. Or the foot fist way. That's what I thought. But I kind of like this because I'm so glad that people don't think that you know how to punch. And in a way, I'm glad that I didn't think I knew how to punch because then I would not have opened up my mind and studied other stuff. And then I realized, oh man, I do know how to punch. What are these people talking about? It's like, you're in the boxing ring now. Only I would laugh at me getting beaten up in my prime by a man who was middle-aged. But anyway, let's continue.
If you think that's gonna help you in the street, you're gonna get a real rude awakening. A lot of Taekwondo fighters, they'll stand like this. If I get into a street fight like this in close range, I'm gonna get clocked.
Not if you're good at moving out the way or at slipping punches. Or if you do that, my blade of grass technique, where if you get hit, you just still move. Of course, a lot of people say that's slipping. I always thought slipping was when you were ahead of the punch. Blade of grass is when you got caught and you couldn't see it and you just got to kind of roll with it and yield. But I could be wrong. So that's not true. And I've seen people fight like that. They got their hands down because they're really good at punching people. They're the people that hit you so fast, you blink, you tag twice.
And I'm telling you, this type of blocking isn't gonna cut it, man. It's not. It's super committed. Anything is gonna get through it. You have no guard. You need to start with the foundations.
I'm telling you, I've seen it, and I wouldn't have believed it if I didn't see it, and if it wasn't done to me. But I've seen it. Now, what he says here, these foundations, I would tell you to just go the opposite of way of what he's saying. Get a shodan in some type of taekwondo, or even karate, or whatever. Just get a shodan and punch kick. I'll just say get a shodan and punch kick. Stop. Then go check out other styles. Stop. And then decide, am I going to stay with this punch kick, or do I want to do a different punch kick, or do I want to switch completely over to grappling? One little secret. A lot of grappling instructors know how to handle strikers because they used to also strike. That's why some of us striking instructors can handle grapplers because we've also studied grappling. And it's really funny how people think that I don't know anything at all. Now, I'm not saying I could go up to one of the top Gracies and be like, hey, Renzo, let's do this, and then I'm going to beat him. I'm not that arrogant. Okay? But a lot of people don't know that technically speaking, my first formal style was judo. And you know what happens if you start off with grappling or some of these other styles? When in a real fight, you build a bad habit. You build a bad habit of standing too close to people because you're comfortable being close to people because you work out close to people. And if you stand too close to people in the streets, what can they do? They can hurt you with a weapon that's sharp and pointy. I don't want to get the algorithm to get me. If you're too close to anyone, I don't care what your style is, they may be able to hit you. You didn't learn how to do this. And a lot of times, honestly, when stylists lose a fight, it's not because it's not their instructor's fault. It's really the stylist. It really is. The instructor probably told them not to do the thing that gets them to lose that fight. Because people are people and people are going to do what they want to do. Now, I'm all for, this is my thing. Like I said, you pick one favorite thing and then you get exposed to other things. So then not only can you open up your mind, but you might make some new friends along the way. Okay? But see, the problem is people are trying to use styles for what they're not meant to be used for. If something is a striking art meant to be done at the punching and kicking distance, that's where you use it. See, when people try to come in and like grapple with people doing a striking style, a lot of times they're going to get punched and knocked down and knocked out before they can even get their grappling techniques on. That was why at first I didn't feel the need to go back and return to judo and at least get a shodan in it. Because in quote unquote real fights that I had seen, boxers lost. And wrestlers and grapplers lost. So I just assumed that all you needed was a karate or a taekwondo. And that was before I met people who really knew what they were doing with those styles. And I was like, oh, I'm judging people that are on the student level and not people who are really good fighters. Oh, and not only that, do you realize that if you were skilled enough to kick someone in the head full contact, you could kill them? So it would be good to know some techniques besides kicking people in the head from a legal standpoint. So basically, thank you for indulging my long reaction to a short. And just to let you know, parents, put your kids in Taekwondo if you want to. If you don't want to, that's up to you. But don't give in to internet scare tactics. If you want to know what style will work for your child, whatever style they feel like doing, whatever style they're going to show up to. Should your child just for the rest of their life stick with that one style? I mean, if they really want to, go for it. But I personally believe in you pick one favorite thing and then you branch out into other things. And then you might find another thing that you like. And then could because ultimately you do what I did anyway in the long run is that we ultimately all create our own styles.
Start with boxing, wrestling, Muay Thai, Jiu Jitsu. All of them or one of them, but not Taekwondo. Parents,
I would tell you to, after they get, make sure they get a, this is the thing, make sure they get a black belt in something. Let your child see something through to black belt. Then, all those other things you talked about, if they're still enthusiastic about it, take them through all those. That's going to take a long time. That may even take decades. So that will make them a very well-rounded martial artist. And if they're like me, it's probably going to happen anyway because one of my Taekwondo teachers was actually a karate and Muay Thai stylist. And he showed me how to jam Muay Thai kicks. And then when somebody tried to do a Muay Thai kick on me one time, we were just supposed to be sparring, pity pat tat tat. Sparring, that's what we're supposed to be doing. He wasn't supposed to be trying to go Muay Thai hard, but he tried to do it, I guess, to show me something. Right? I guess he was going to try to show me something. I knew how to jam it and get him to fall. And then I say, yeah, by the way, one of my teachers also knew that. Stop stereotyping, people. Not just with people, but with martial arts. So if you really want to pin me down and say, what style do I think is the best? Mine. Of course, because I made it. Duh. Of course I'm going to say that. But see, my style is constantly growing. My style is that I'll learn from anybody that has something to teach me. That's my style. You want to know what my style is? My style is I will learn from anyone who has anything to teach me while I'm practicing general choice forms because, hey, I can only remember one set of forms. I'm sorry. I don't have a super encyclopedic memory. I got general choice forms and the basic forms. A few of the basic forms I learned from Okinawan karate and Tang Sudo, as well as the Nahanchis. I finally taught myself Nahanchi 3. If you don't know what I'm talking about, look it up on YouTube. Thanks for watching this video. Like, comment, and subscribe. We share with people like to talk about the martial arts in peace. And as always, thank you for your time. I appreciate it. And parents, just put your kids in a martial arts program that they enjoy with an instructor that you trust. And of course, if you're near me, I want you to come to my classes. Peace! And if you don't know who I am, check out the channel's About section. Thank you.